everybody. It's your girl TC, and thank you so much for joining me on this week's episode of Another Woman in Time with Tiffany. I realized that in these YouTube streets, you could have clicked on any other button, but you chose to click on mine. So while you're here, just subscribe and we can continue to grow our community. So if you are here from my blog page, Another Woman in Time with Tiffany. First of all, thank you. This is so new for me. I am a writer by nature. I am not a speaker. And so when I was in my prayer time and God was like, why don't you take this on the road, so to speak? I was like, are you sure that's what you want me to do? But it hasn't left my spirit. So maybe this is my season of elevation season where I'm supposed to be doing more. So bear with me as I get my bugs and kinks out. I'm a little nervous. Not nervous because God is not giving me the spirit of fear, but I am a little apprehensive just to come in front of the camera because I'm so used to writing behind the scenes. What is a WHOAment? Glad you asked. It's very simple. A WHOAment is just the moment that you fully understand or grasp something. It can be a monumental boom or a flash scale aha moment, and we just call them moments. Or like LT, my husband, usually says, WHOAment. So whenever you are inspired by God or just inspired in your walk, period, it's a WHOAment. We're no longer saying, aha. Usually the WHOAments are posted on Mondays and then Fridays. I don't only do inspirational WHOAments. I also do wedded WHOAments, which are just for inspiration for me as a married wife, tips that I can give other wives out there, for thriving in your marriage, because we want to not just live to exist, but we want to, and not just to survive, but we want to thrive in this Christian walk, right? I know I do. And then the second, I love my natural hair. Right now it's in a protective style, but I also have a section on my blog post called Kinky WHOAments, and those deal with natural hair. So with that being said, let's jump into this week's WHOAment. So this week I did a WHOAment about, it's basically small distractions that we think are so innocent and so harmless, how they can get us off track of what God has intended for us. In the beginning of this year, God spoke into my spirit, Holy Spirit dropped it, and it was just simple 2 words. And they were, please forgive me for saying, I'm going to say it off the bat because I know someone will say, you say it on a lot. But anyways, now that's off the way. God gave me 2 words to thrive off of this year, and it was be intentional. When I first received those words, I didn't really have a lot of revelation on what he meant by that. I thought I was being intentional in my walk with him. I go to church on Sundays. I go to church on Wednesdays. During the week, I study the word. I try to live as best as I could. But I know that in order to elevate me to the next level, I need to be intentional so that I can focus in on what God has for me. And so as a result of hearing those 2 words, I became on it. I have a journal that I write in, and it's my my daily devotionals to God. I also have scriptures that I meditate on. I also, on Sundays, our pastor, I love my church. My pastor gives out outlines, or our church gives out outlines so that you can follow along in the message, and you can write down things that stick out for you. You can fill in the blanks. And he always during his message says things like, go research that when you get home, so that you know the word for yourself, not only for what he's teaching you. So I have my outlines, I read the Bible, I listen to my worship music, I just throughout my day thank God for little things in my life. And then also I use my weekly inspirational blogs to help me, because what I learned from every single one of those blogs I choose to share with other people in hopes that they will be inspired, which is also the point of this session here. And so I was on it, right? January, February, March, April, May, June. June. The girls got out for summer school. And as a stay-at-home mom, I finally got into a groove of, my daily routines, right? Usually, or in summers past when they were younger, we used to put them into programs. Since I'm at home, basically, they stay home with me during the summer, and it's usually not an issue. I enjoy having them here, but with my new being intentional thing, with summer, I have to be transparent and say I fell off, right? Summer is usually the time for vacations. You stay up later, you wake up later, there's all these things. And so I didn't notice it until later, and we'll get into that. But me too, would stay up later with the girls. Our family is very intentional, and my husband is to thank for this, for spending time with our girls. We spend family time. We eat dinner as a family at the table. We play games. We do things as a family. But along the way, and I'm not sure when, I know exactly when. My husband says it's when I got a new phone. You get these new phones, they have all the latest apps, all the gadgets, whatever. And so I love YouTube. That's probably what drew me to being here with you, is I love YouTube. And so and my favorite things to watch on YouTube are clean with me videos, hair tutorials, family vlogs, and inspiration. And so you have a phone in your hand, and for me, I'm just mindlessly scrolling, and I could start on a clean with me video, and before I know it, I'm doing shopping hauls and family vlogs, and not really cognizant of the time that I'm spending on there. I have games on my phone, right? Everybody has games on your phone. You don't think about the time that you spend aimlessly playing games on your phone. There's times where my family could be at the table playing a game, or on the Wii, playing a Wii game or whatever, and I'm in the corner scrolling, right? Making sure my games are high, my scores are high, and I'm not being intentional with the time that I'm spending with them. So fast forward, this probably went on a few weeks. Fast forward to not too long ago. I don't want to be that transparent to tell you the time frame on it, but let's just say I was spending a lot of time on my phone, and not necessarily doing anything bad, but it was a distraction, right? Anything that takes your focus away from what God has for you, let's face it, it's a distraction. And it can be anything from playing games on a phone. It could be your friends. It could be talking on the phone. It could be watching YouTube. If it's not adding to your life, if it's taking your focus away from God, your family, what it is that you should be doing, your work, your passions, what it is that you should be doing, it's a distraction. And it's so subtle that it just slips in and you don't even realize it, right? So all of a sudden, and nothing is all of a sudden, right? It's there in the background, but eventually it comes to light. And so I began being very irritable. And at first, I could blame it on the fact that I was staying up late playing games, and just my whole rhythm was off with the girls home for summer and not having to wake up with them, get them ready for school, or get them out of the house, to where I was just becoming very irritable. Everything they did bothered me, like to the point where if one of them, I love cleaning my house, right? I don't know. It's something that happened in my older age. I love cleaning. It's my meditation. But during this time, like if someone had a sock on the floor or had wasted water, I would go off. Like, you're just so lazy. You don't do this. You don't do that. And they would be looking at me like, we're about to get it up, but you're going off right now. And then it got to a point where LT would come home, and our little drop zone is by our front door, and he would come home, put his bag down. If I was upstairs, now he's worked all day, I've been in the house, but if he comes home and he doesn't find me quick enough, then I have an attitude like, I've been here all day, and you act like you don't love me anymore. I wouldn't say these things, but my attitude would definitely show. And I have to admit, I have I have the best husband. He doesn't play into my antics, but he's very observant. So he can tell when something's wrong, and he'll ask me, babe, you okay? I'm fine. I'm fine. Wives out there, I'm sure you can relate to something irritating you and you just not knowing how to talk about it or not wanting to, admit that something's bothering you. So instead you say, I'm fine. So this went on a few weeks. And so finally, one day, LT and I were talking, and he basically said, babe, I know for me, and he used himself as an example. He said, I know when I have to be mindful of the things that I take in during the day. I have to be mindful of how I start my day and how I end my day. Because if I don't, everything bothers me, or I just have a bad day. My day sucks. He didn't say those words, but I am. His day sucks when he doesn't set it up right? So remember, back in January, I was on it. God gave me those words to be intentional, and TC, your girl, was on it. I was intentional. And so then once he told me that, there's something about the Holy Spirit. Well, he will use people around you, mostly the people who are closest to you, to help his message get across. Because I'm pretty sure he was trying to tell me, but I was too busy watching YouTube, too busy playing my games to realize. But as soon as LT said those words, it was like, dang, I've been acting a straight fool. And so I knew that I had to get back in line. So I confessed to God, I haven't been intentional. I haven't been doing what you told me to do. And so I've been on it. I have gone back to watching the things that I watch. Not literally, but you know what I mean. There's things that I had to cut out in order to hear from God. If there's so much in your ear and so much that's going on and you can't hear God, that becomes a problem, because you then start not recognizing his voice, but you've got all this junk coming into you. You've got the news, you have outside influences, you have just a bunch of googly gunk and junk food that you're feeding your soul, rather than the things that God intends for you to have, right? And he intends for you to hear things from him so that you know how to start your day. You know how, and I'm pretty sure it's a spiritual aspect, because the world kind of confuses it. But even the most, the most mindless person, the person who says, I don't believe in God, they can tell you, oh, but positive thoughts, they work all day. So you do need to be intentional about what you feed your soul, because distractions can get you off. They can lead you down the wrong path. And I am not saying that YouTube, that games are bad, but I am saying that when you are not nourishing your soul with good things, with the things that God has for you, then you will be distracted from your purpose. And so it is about balance. And I do talk about that in my WHOAment, that it is about balance. And every day I'm not perfect. Nope. But I do serve a forgiving God that is there for me when I need him. He's there for me even when my acts are unlovable, he still loves me. He still comes to me and says, hey, TC, all right, girl. Yeah, we haven't talked in a minute. What's up with that? And so I am just grateful for my husband. I'm grateful that I have a receptive spirit now, because back in the day, I probably would be like, you don't know what you're talking about. That's fine for you to start your day and end your day the way you want to, but I'm going to still go about my games. But now, being that I am trying to serve God, I am trying to live my best life, it also includes listening to people who are around me that pull my coattail and let me know when I'm off track. So I hope that helped someone. And also, along with our weekly recaps, I also want to drop 3 words into your spirit every day. I mean, for you to meditate on until the next time that we meet. Okay, so those 3 words. The first one is diligence. What does it mean to be diligent? For me, diligence means that I have to, no matter who's looking, no matter who's watching, I have to be diligent. I have to be consistent with what I do. I have to be, because without the consistency, then you're like this. You're up and down, and you're wayward, right? So for me, it's diligence means to continue to do the right thing. And the second word is righteousness. What does it mean to you when you hear the word righteousness? For me, honestly, when I think of the word righteous in itself, I think of old stuffy people who are like self-righteous, basically, who are judgmental. They do things that they're just doing it to be seen. They're righteous, right? But when I read it in the scriptures, to be righteous is just to be in right standing with God, to do all things that he likes, and then he adds other things to it. So the righteousness that we want to relate is to think of just doing the right things, right? Putting him first, making God your first priority, your last thing to do when you go to bed before. Just thank God for your breath. Thank God for your day. Thank God that you made it to bed, right? Because there's lots of people who didn't. Thank God for your surroundings. Thank God for all of his goodness, because we know that everything good comes from God. And so I want to be right with God. And that means from my marriage, from my walk with him, to my kids, I just want everything to fall in place. And for me, righteousness means falling in place with him. And the last word is reap, R-E-A-P. For me, I know now, I used to think of reaping when you hear older people say, you're going to reap what you sow. Or you see someone going through a hardship and they're like, yeah, they're just reaping what they sowed. What about all the good things that you sowed, though? If you reap, or if you sow into your spirit all the good things that God has for you, you will definitely reap a reward. And reaping just means to get, to collect all the things that God has for you. And I believe that when you are diligent, when you are righteous, when you walk in righteousness, you will reap all those things automatically. And when I say automatically, it's a choice, right? You can either sow good into your life, you can sow the bad things into your life. Either way, you're going to get what you get, but why not get God's blessings? That's it. So with that being said, thank you so much for joining me. I pray and pray and pray for you. I pray that this week's WHOAment spoke to your spirit. I hope that through our time together that you in me see something in yourself that you can improve, because I want us all to be living our best lives. And that's really what it's about. So as the sign behind me says, be brave, be kind, be thankful, be happy, and be who God intended you to be. See you next time. Bye.